What was it in April that that finally got their attention? What was April like?
I'm not sure. Oh, what was it like for for us?
For you guys?
It was full out gun battles.
Lost a lot
toe to toe gun battles.
Right.
That was like the first time that they actually stayed and fighted you before.
Yeah,
you would get ambushed. You would get ambushed.
Yeah,
they hit
a lot
you.
of hit and runs. Yeah,
Fake rounds. They bounce. Army push through. Whoever would come through would always push through. I remember them telling me that in the brief. You know, we get hit, we push, we keep pushing.
right.
So
I mean, those are our and everyone's. You know, those are 7-8 tactics. You know, and react to contact.
April 6, 2004, that's when everything kicked off. My squad was actually on an IED patrol that day. We're doing the patrol. We go Michigan, up Gypsum, Nova. Then somehow we get turned around because I thought initially we had went towards Goff's AO and shot up towards Nova, but I don't think that was right after talking to other people, you know. So somehow we get turned around. We start patrolling back down Gypsum. But my squad leader at the time was like, hey, you know, he's like, I don't want to get on the road. He's like, we're going to do this satellite patrolling. And I was like, all right. Well, I wasn't like, all right, but you know, all the team leaders was like, all right, I was a boot. All the team leaders was like, all right. And so we're satellite patrolling. We're staying off the road. Then all of a sudden we get close to Michigan, you know, and we've been out all day. Our heads are like, God, we're almost there. Let's get back. You know?
Right.
We're almost there. Well, we come up, and at the time, one of my seniors, Lance Corporal Ote, he's in a confrontation with a guy. The guy's trying to make us walk a certain way, and they've got concertina wire ran through these houses, just blocking us where we can't get by.
Right.
And the guy's like, you need to go this way. You need to go this way. Ote's like, nah, we move the concertina wire. We keep pushing the way we push. We cross Michigan. There's big arches right there at the time, and everybody knows the arches. So we're going past the arches, and we get on the other side where there's a big graveyard and stuff like that, and the railroad and all that's right there. And I'm walking, and we're all walking in patrol, stagger column or whatever, and all of a sudden rounds just start popping up by my feet.
Yep.
But it's like 10 or 15 feet away, and I'm not even thinking about it. The wind's blowing pretty hard too. So like I'm watching this dust pop up. I'm just looking at it like, what is that? And I'm looking around, and then I see it pop up over here. And then it seems like it all clicked all at once for all of us. Like we're being shot at. Like rounds started whizzing by our head. Like, okay, we're being shot at. We do what Marines do. We take cover. We get we locate, we close with, you know, we took the houses. We go in. On this particular day, I became a saw gunner. The day before this all went down, I became a saw gunner.
Okay.
Because actually, the ambush I was talking about earlier, our radio operator got hit.
Okay.
So our saw gunner became a radio operator.
Okay.
Next guy in line for the saw was me, so I took the saw. We hit a berm, lay down fire, push teams, you know, suppressive fire and all that. Take the two houses. Nobody's there though, you know. I mean, we fragged the courtyard, we fragged the roofs. Like there wasn't a door, we wasn't going in, we weren't throwing frags at the time. And nobody was there. Come down. QRF comes out to us. And so we all like gather up. I remember gathering up by the canal and stuff. And I don't have a radio or nothing, you know. I'm still a boot, so I don't know what's going on. But evidently, second platoon had already been taking hit at the same time. Mm-hmm. So when QRF got to us, we were going to push up to second platoon. So we all get in the Humvee to push up. We're getting 3 Humvees, or 2 Humvees and a 7-ton. My platoon sergeant and half of my squad getting the first Humvee, and the other half of the squad, including me, getting the second Humvee. And we start pushing up Route Gypsum. and the 7-ton behind me ends up taking fire.
Yeah.
So SOP, like everybody needs to stop, blah, 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 and take a fire or whatever. So I'm beating on the top of the Humvee, because I was saw gunner. There's no turret.
Right.
Okay. I've got my saw, my bipods on top of the, the truck,
the hood,
the roof of the Humvee.
Or the roof. Okay.
And I'm beating on the top, stop. Well, we slow down a little bit. That first Humvee initially goes up into the marketplace of Gypsum and where Nova, the intersections meet.
Okay.
And I come around, we come around, and it was just hell. Like, it wasn't easy. There was nothing easing into it. Come around, boom, just fire everywhere. First thing I see is like 6 dudes on this rooftop. Mm-hmm. And they're just hanging over the side just like this. And they're just like, just letting it out. And, for a second, my eyes had to watch. But then my mind realized what was going on. There was no hesitation after that. I put down the saw. I remember shooting. I had 2 guys beside me. I ended up opening up on the saw on 4 guys. Ended up clipping the wall, working my way up. Mm-hmm. Hit the first 2 guys. Hit the first guy. The first guy I saw, he was the one that was initially, right. I saw him shooting it first. So I hit him first. Then I hit the second guy. And I just kept working my way down the rooftop.
Right.
Till I got to a car that was on top of the roof. A car frame on top of the roof. Then I started trying to hit guys through that. And, I've got my buddy Downing and my other buddy Thal next to me. They're shooting. Squad leaders shooting. Bullets everywhere. Like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, just bullets everywhere. Like, all which way, left, right, front, back. I didn't know what bullets were what. I was also in my zone. Like, I was in my zone. I knew what was going on around me, but I knew where my targets were.
Yeah.
And so that's going down, and then boom. I don't know what made me look down, but I have to look down for a second. As soon as I look down, I watch bullet fragments hit my leg, which is crazy. Like, I literally watched it go into my leg.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit. And then I was letting everybody know, like, yo, I'm hit, And I'm just had reloaded after that went down. Mm-hmm. And now I'm hit. Now I'm letting them know I'm hit, and I'm just watching myself start to bleed a little bit. Yeah. And then RPG. Direct hit. My Humvee actually had body armor on it. Is why I'm still talking today. Yeah. We had side panels, and then it was a truck. It was a truck Humvee,
Okay.
So in the cab, they actually had put a steel plate where all the shrapnel would have came through.
Yeah.
And it would have ripped me apart. And you can see there's like inch indentions in this steel where this RPG had hit. RPG hit. I'm out cold. Like, I get knocked out. Come to, I don't know why. Initially, my legs, I don't know why I did that, but I come to, and I stood straight up. Well, I didn't sit straight up. I sat straight up. Still I can't hear nothing. So I'm feeling my legs, and there's just dirt everywhere.
Yeah.
There's freaking dirt everywhere. Come to, and then boom, rounds start coming off again.
Yeah. And
they're everywhere, every which way. There's rounds so hard. They're hitting the Humvee, and the Humvee's vibrating. And I really and so all I could do, I tried to grab the saw.
Yeah.
Saw barrel's split. Saw's blown up. Yeah, it's done. So all I do is lay back down, take cover, just I literally laid on my back. That's all I could do.
Yeah.
Because forgot to mention this before, but we had detainees in the Humvee with us from the first firefight. We ended up taking guys because I think they hid their weapons, and then came out and tried to play the part like, oh, we didn't do nothing.
Right.
But we ended up taking them anyway. they were left in the Humvee. I think they ended up getting killed. They didn't care about them at all either. Yeah. So come to just massive amounts of rounds hitting the Humvee. I just remember Ote yelling, "Get the fuck out of the truck!" And I didn't hesitate. Jumped up, got out of the truck. We took cover on this little wall that led into a building. Mm-hmm. So we're in this shed trying to get into the house now. Well, the door we're trying to get through, we can't get through.
Yeah. Trying to get to a defensible point.
Trying to get on the rooftop.
Okay.
Trying to get to a defensive point, trying to hit the rooftop. Couldn't get the rooftop. Door that had been whatever. Door was like concrete shutter or whatnot. I don't know. So we get stuck in this little building and we just fought our way in that building. You know, guys are rolling. Guys are looking for us.
Right.
You know, they're looking for us. As they're looking for us, they're getting popped. You know, I mean, there's guys with AKs strapped on their back and AKs in their hands, you know, and they're just going by the windows and doors. And as they're rolling by, we're just popping them. My boy Ote, like, literally reloaded and unloaded a magazine in one dude. It was
yeah, that's a serious day. And I just want to the movies and some storytellers that supersize their combat experience. Right. I hate it because it makes it sound like, he's making Black Hawk Down. Well, right. Black Hawk Down happened once in the 90s.
Right.
And that's not everyday combat.
Yes,
you know, and another guy that just another storyteller, you know, that's a lie. You know, well, I've kind of heard these stories before. People don't realize how rare these stories like really are during the GWAT. They just are. I don't even know if I can think of a time like when you're talking about every single one around us, we're firing at something. Even that alone is so unusual for everyone to have a target.
Right. No.
And these targets are sometimes are almost like ghosts. They pop up so quick, you know, and they leave, and you either had a chance to shoot at them, maybe you hit them, maybe you didn't. That's why you always have to be ready. Everything happens so fast. And when you were talking about actually seeing, you know, that one guy like shooting from the rooftop, I get it because I remember, you know, early in my career, you don't see guys a lot.
I remember what they can wear.
And so when you first see one, you're like, there it is. I've been looking for you. I'm finally going to get a chance to do something about this. Almost this surreal moment of you don't get a chance to truly meet the enemy a lot.
No, you don't. And they were ghosts, especially in 06, they were ghosts.
Yeah.
No, it was toe to toe. You know, intel reports came in later on, blah, 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 like, and all that. And when the book was written, I had a chance to talk to Greg about it. And from what I was told, there was over 100-man force in that intersection. And there was 13 of us. That's so massive.
Yeah, and that
in Iraq to compile 100-man enemy force
in one intersection.
And just going back into how we were talking about that HVT being captured, and they had this 3-day jihad planned and coordinated against us, and they kind of kicked it off early. And on the 6th, there was well coordinated ambushes throughout the whole city. Like this wasn't one isolated incident. And they had these ambush sites set up in positions, knowing that QRFs were going to go down these routes to go assist other Marines that were in contact with the enemy already. So this wasn't just like a single isolated incident. It was scattered throughout the whole city, where there were multiple Marine squads that were pinned down and isolated from resources and getting other QRFs there.
So and just to double down on this, you believe this is a well coordinated attack based off of multiple probes earlier to see what your reaction was, what your TTPs was.
Absolutely. So just kind of how this kind of, from reading multiple books and putting this together, there was a scout sniper element that was set into an observation site on the Euphrates. There was a 4-man element, and they ended up becoming compromised. And
About four,
They
almost
saw,
like
yeah.
14, 15 guys were pushing up on their position.
Yeah, so you have this 4-man sniper element that's on the Euphrates River, completely isolated from the rest of the company or battalions.
Yep.
They see a squad level, maybe even plus coming towards them. So they get on the radio, they start calling for backup, like, hey, we've been compromised, we need backup. We have this squad size plus element with, machine guns coming towards us. And that is what kind of drew everybody into those locations. The insurgencies set up ambush sites knowing that there were going to be other units that were going to go that way. So, and those snipers, like they held their own until backup came. And even just from reading books, those guys thought they were going to get overrun to the point to where they started removing the bolts from their sniper rifles, because they thought for them, like, hey, we're not making it out of here. So
and we're not going to give them our weapons to be used against our brothers.
That was us too. When we got in the building and things started calming down a little bit and everything started getting quiet a little bit. I mean, my team leader, Corporal Noel, said, like, hey, if you pray right now, it's time to pray, because I don't know if we're getting out of here.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about a building with 6 or 7 Marines in it the size of this carpet.
That's crazy.
And so Zach's squad would have been one of the ones that was
pushing
on the QRF, pushing up to rescue those snipers. And at the time, that sniper element already had a squad size element of Marines that was already working on IED down on Nova that had already made contact with them, and they were already in their own shitstorm firefight up there, where we had already had lost Marines on that site too. Multiple, one of my closest friends that I was in SOI with, Marcus Cherry, was a part of that ambush. And
Cherry happened. Cherry was in the 7-ton that had got hit when I was trying to get everybody to stop. And so that 7-ton ended up staying back there.
Okay.
And
did you know it at the time?
No.
But no. When radios,
our radio operator was killed instantly.
Was he really?
My ambush was in a T intersection. Across Michigan, there was a Dishka 50 cal that was pointed straight down the road. And that first Humvee came in, and that 50 opened up on it.
And that was I think that was just a high back Humvee with no armor on it.
No armor. And that's when, that was my point of making, like, when I came to and there was rounds hitting my Humvee and the Humvee was vibrating, like, that was different for me. Like, I could feel it in my body.
I think everybody in that Humvee except one Marine was killed.
That was Ote. He ran by. And he ran by my Humvee after RPG and everything went off, and he was, get the fuck out of the truck.
Yeah, there was. I think there's a pretty famous picture from that battle where there was a Marine sitting in the driver's seat of that Humvee with the windshield completely shattered, and it's completely full of blood and whatnot. So, and
he ended up getting killed a couple weeks later
in that same intersection.
Really?
But that initial battle site with the Dishka mounted, like, it was strategically placed there, knowing that the QRF had to go in that direction to get to rescue the sniper. So, like, that's why it was a well coordinated ambush site, knowing that they were going to get the snipers in that position, knowing that the QRF had to push up this intersection, and it's just,
that's where all the concertina wire came into play and trying to push us back a certain way and all this.
Right.
I really think they were trying to push us into a different ambush.
They were trying to channelize you somewhere.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. And, like I said, everybody in that Humvee was killed except his team leader, Ote. And, one of those Marines in that Humvee, his name was Chris Cobb. He was my childhood friend that I grew up with. And we went to boot camp together. We went to SOI together. And then we go to the fleet together. And then we get, he gets put in Echo Company. I get put in Fox. And, it just sucks. I lose a childhood friend. And, he's buried by my house to this day. And there's not a day goes by where I don't, like, visit his grave, even if I'm just, like, driving in the area. I'm not even, if I'm just going home and I'm passing his grave, like, I'll stop by for 30 seconds just to say hi. Like, I don't need to stay there all day. Like, I just feel like it's my duty to, like, make sure that those guys get remembered for what they went through and what they did, because nobody's ever heard this, for whatever reason. Nobody has ever heard this story before, and I don't. I think a lot of guys that we serve with don't know why that the Battle of Ramadi never got
I've always thought it was an inside job.
Yeah.
I mean, crazy to think, but it was always been hush hush.